Tech with Heart. I am your host, Michelle Calloway. We are all about empowering entrepreneurs to embrace technology so that you can stay competitive and relevant in a rapidly changing digital landscape. And today's topic is success formulas. What does it take to be successful online as a business owner, as well as how can you have that perfect work-life balance? And so we're going to talk about that from a technology perspective. Because with me today, I'm very excited. I have another tech diva. She's actually known as the technology therapist. Her name is Stacy Braiuca, and she has just really able to simplify technologies and really calm people, because a lot of small business owners really struggle with embracing technology, which is again part of why this Tech with Heart initiative and nonprofit exists. So Stacy herself has been doing this for 25 years, working with small business owners, helping them kind of understand what drives them, how to find that balance. And so we're going to talk about her success formula today. So welcome to the Tech with Heart stage, Stacy.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I think we've both been waiting for this, well, probably about 2 years or so now. Can you
We
believe it's
actually,
been that long?
yes, we actually met on a marketer's cruise in 2000, right before COVID just blew everything all to you know
Uh,
what.
and we
So
met right before we got on the boat even. So that was one of the coolest things is meeting somebody before, I'm there by myself and meeting new people. That was awesome.
especially tech-hearted, technology and heart-centered other entrepreneurs who
Yes.
are really focused on helping and helping small business owners really help them figuring stuff out. So
Yeah, because
let's
tech,
talk. Go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about what your formula consists of, because it's a work-life thing, it's a business technology thing.
Mhm.
So what can you tell us a little bit about what led you in this direction to help entrepreneurs specifically with this type of a formula, figuring it out, the process?
Yeah, so kind of what you just said is, tech should never, in my opinion, tech should never be frustrating for somebody. Tech should always be a functional tool we can use for good. So tech with heart really, really is close to my heart because tech should always be used for good, not for evil. And it should always be not that it should always be comfortable, I guess is probably, but it should never be frustrating. Tech should never be frustrating. But the fact of the matter is, tech can even be frustrating for tech girls. But I'll get to that. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later. But what brought me to it was being in a profession. I am a therapist by trade, and a public health educator by trade, and 20 years of being in those fields with people who are terrified of technology. But in the same time, 20 years of realizing that things like telehealth and things potentially like a pandemic even were coming our way, and that we were going to need these tools, and that these tools were already there. The tools we're using right now were already here in some way, shape, or form 20 years ago, before a pandemic and before the mental health community was ready to embrace them. So here I was spouting, hey, we could use this, we could do this, we could do this, and no one was listening. It took a pandemic for people to listen. So, and I've embraced that. I've accepted it. you know.
Yeah, it's important
Um,
for us to realize that not everybody moves fast when it comes to change, and paradigm shifts are a huge thing to try. I mean, I entered the augmented reality space back in 2012 when it was just entering the US market. And when I was showing people how this technology can be used to enhance human connection, people were looking at me like I was some sort of a voodoo freak. Like they were like, whoa, that's really weird. Get that away from me. They're almost like off put by it.
right,
But now it's like, holy smokes. Once Facebook and Google and Apple started embracing that technology, all of a sudden everybody's like, hey, what is this? Hey, isn't that something? Like people would write to me saying, isn't that something kind of like what you're doing? And I'm like, ah. Anyway, proceed. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit more about why it's important for an entrepreneur to have a success formula, and what does that even entail?
well, and actually, I'll delve into a few pieces that are in my formula here that you see in front of you, which is actually written as a mathematical equation somewhat, for those people who are analytical left brainers, and it's written in pictures for the people who are right brainers. So it's written for people who are left and right brain. The idea is we're all looking for some sort of balance in our life. And for entrepreneurs, it's vital. You will not last as an entrepreneur if you do not have work-life balance. It's that simple. If you do not have it, and not just have it one day, it's something you constantly work on. It's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a constant journey because things change. Even if because we as humans want the results of change, but the idea of changing ourselves, not always so much. But guess what? The world is going to change around us even if we don't.
That is
So
so
we
true.
have to continually change to keep up with that. And I get that it's uncomfortable. I mean, 25 years is helping people through change. That's what I've done for years. And that doesn't mean I enjoy it any more or less than the other person, by the way. I still am uncomfortable with change myself at times. But we all need that balance. So to me, there are four silent S's underneath the chronic health problems we have in this country before COVID, and now it's even more. So those things that we have underneath our health problems are lack of self-care and lack of sleep, stress management, and societal stigmas. And without going into a lot of it, lack of sleep and lack of self-care are two things somewhat within our locus of control, our ability to control them. Whereas stress management and societal stigmas are not. Societal stigmas in and of itself is a huge, huge thing, ranging from things like vaxing or not vaxing, masking or not masking, societal, like any bit of the way, peer pressure, those kinds of things, up through all of the isms, up through traumas and things like war, trauma from war. So it's this huge continuum of stuff. And it's all out there. It's all going to be out there. It's not ever going to fully go away. Someday maybe some of the things will change perspective, I hope. And hopefully because of technology, instead of technology being used for evil in making them worse, let's try and use the technology for good to make some of those isms and some of those traumas and some of those things better, because it so can. Anyway, if you can tell, that's where my heart really gets in going. But those are the four things underneath our health problems. And those are the things that we have to mitigate in order to have good work-life balance. So if we mitigate those two that are in our control, they move up here to what I call the solution line. And then this is mindset, automation, delegation, which in and of itself is a huge arena by itself. Mindset not only being your mindset about your work, but your mindset about technology. Automation, absolutely not just being automation in technology, but automation right here with behaviors and choices and habits. So we can automate ourselves with habits. We can automate the interaction between ourselves and the technology with habits. So this in and of itself is another huge, huge area. This right here is the fun one, and it's your life magic trick, where you find out where you fit in life, what lights you up, what makes you special, what makes what you give to the world unique.
That's
So
fabulous.
in that, I'll end with a question. How many technology therapists do you know, Michelle Calloway?
Well, I don't know any other than you because I'm not known as a technology therapist. What I strive to do with the Tech with Heart movement and just being, into technology and emerging technologies is to be a light source for helping small business owners feel safe to approach and ask questions and not feel intimidated because they don't know those answers. And so therefore they don't want to be made to feel like they're less than or just, smaller because they're uninformed. And so I just provide like that, middle-aged community where we grow alongside one another, ask good questions, and bring experts like you to come in and share insights like this. Because what I found out when I entered the entrepreneurial space, Stacy, is that at first I thought, oh, I just can come with this skill set and I can come in with this plan to like take this to the world and aha, it'll all fall into place. And I had no real concept of what it takes to scale a company, to lead a big company or anything like that. So I'm on a constant personal like growth journey to try and be an effective leader, because a company will only grow as big as its leadership can allow it to. But I had no real concept of what it takes to what even that means. And so your formula, more or less, for entrepreneurs is going to allow them to be successful leaders. That whole automation mindset thing that you talked about, because I'm always promoting the idea like automate what you can, like let's show you how, let's provide you resources to outsource it so that you don't have to, but it's good for you to know it all, at least the concepts. It's so important for the leaders to understand the concepts, but they don't have to be doing the work. The idea is to only do what you can do and focus on those strengths, but it takes a while to get there. So I'm assuming that your formula kind of helps people identify like at the step by step, because with any plan, you have to have a strategy in order to reach that goal that you set through the plan. And then, so this formula, it's just like a recipe for success. You have to have certain ingredients, but you have to put those ingredients in order, right? So tell us
Oh
more.
yeah. You with any and this formula, this is a very simplified version, obviously, of a larger whole process. One of that the probably one of the most important parts of the process is assessment of everything that you have going on. And so going through that, because if I just try to put you, cookie cutter, into a same scenario as I put, say, somebody standing next to you, it's not going to work, because for one, by itself, your magic trick's different than somebody else's. Your sleep and self-care is different. Your mindset's different. Your delegation's different. Everything in here is different. And I can't just put you cookie cutter into a thing and say, do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But I can put everybody together and say, okay, we're going to assess what is your technology literacy? What are your tech goals for the next, what do you want the tech to do? Because everybody wants different things there. And in a group scenario, obviously, there's a lot of great brainstorming and masterminding that can then happen there, which impacts your mindset, and it also impacts stress management because you have social support. Tech with Heart by itself is a social support network. It mitigates by itself a lot of things on this bottom row. It really mitigates some of the things on the bottom row that we as individuals cannot.
Being able to do business online is crucial for survival, especially during times of social distancing. So how do you survive and thrive in the sea of digital noise? It's a lot like fishing. You need to know who your perfect customer is so that you can use the right kind of lure to attract them. We help you catch your perfect customer and retain them for future sales through highly converting websites, influencer mobile apps, getting you featured in the news and on TV. Hi, my name is Jerry Bowden, U.S. Army veteran and president of Revelio Software Solutions. Our goal is to help you rise above the competition, be seen as an expert authority in your industry, and embrace technology to stay competitive for long-term success. It's more affordable than you may think. So reach out to us at revelio.com, and together we will make your business come alive.
Agreed. You need a
Right?
community to grow. That's why I love the concept of growing alongside one another, because if we can just equal the playing field. And so that's what I ask our heart-centered experts that want to come on the show, like yourself, to be willing to like come to the level and of the most novice, participant that we have, so that nobody feels this hierarchy of, oh, they're way up here and I just can't relate. I want everybody to feel like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. I just need to surround myself with people who are going to help me make that happen in a caring, supportive environment, not like, oh, you need to work with me because I'm the best, or not like that at all. So for sure, yes, this is
Or you have to work with this piece of software because it's the best.
oh,
Because
absolutely.
guess what? I own a good handful of software that I resell that I absolutely love. But there are people who I've talked to, and I know there are people I'll talk to in the future who that software is not right for them. Either they're not ready for it or it doesn't fit what they're doing, but they already have something that is working or is partially working. You know, I'm not going to refer people to the main software I resell just because that's the main software I resell. I'm going to
Exactly.
start my, it is absolutely a core value of mine. And it comes from being a social worker and a therapist. We have a core value and we describe it as start where the client is. I have 4 social work rules and it literally is number 1. That is the
Yes.
number 1 rule in my social work world, and it is my number 1 rule in my business world. Start where they are.
Yeah, because actually, when I hear the reason why I Tech with Heart, I'm answering a call. I saw a vision and I needed to step into leadership here. So then I needed to hear from entrepreneurs, like what were their struggles when it came to technology. And the number one part of the struggle with technology is that they don't know what they don't know. So they don't know who to trust. And I just had an Empower meetup through the Tech with Heart Network last week. And one of the ladies came on and said, well, I'm really glad I'm here, but I got to be honest with you. I don't trust such and such and such and such and such and such platform anymore because I was scammed $10,000. And I'm like, I know that's a lot of money. So I'm like, I'm
Oh.
so glad you're here. Like, hey, now you have like somebody you can lean on, like ask the questions, like, should I invest in this? Because
Mhm.
there's a lot of people out there that are making uninformed decisions and are getting taken. There's so much, like you were saying, unfortunately, there are a lot of entities out there using technology for
Oh,
evil. And we are all about no. We are a community you can trust. Ask good questions. Don't jump into anything, especially with big ticket items like that. And let's help you, guide you. I mean, this is a
well,
nonprofit initiative, so we're not in it to like make money. We just really in it to like provide that support and be that light and encourage you to grow alongside one another.
and it's not always the big tickets that are the ones that lure people into a poor situation. There are very big players out there who can afford some very large advertising dollars. And as we're recording this, the Super Bowl's coming up. These are people who can afford Super Bowl level advertising dollars. And because of that, they're the names that people know about building a website or about doing social media or about having an app or any number of things. And the thing is they get people in with that, and then they tack on these huge things on the backside, or they upsell people into things they don't need. I have got
Right.
so many of the people I've worked with. That's one of the things we start with. We do a tech inventory of what do you already have? What do you have right now? What are you considering? And what your needs are. Because frequently they will have either 3 or 4 things of the same type of service. They're paying 3 or 4 different places for the same thing. Or they're paying one place way too much for what they're getting. And I help get them into scenarios where they're paying less for a
That's
package that works for them on their level.
That's super important. Um, we are going to need to wrap it up, but I want to just tap into what you just said there, because there are a lot of small business owners that have been sold that they need this huge platform, but they're only accessing and utilizing 5% of it. And it's just so big because it's meant to do more, but they just don't understand those concepts or how to even, it's just beyond them. So yeah, unfortunately, you're paying a monthly fee that's probably not really supporting what you're getting out of it. There's other platforms you could be paying like minuscule amounts compared to what you're paying monthly. So working with somebody like Stacy to kind of get into the understanding of your processes and your systems and your goals is ultimately important as an entrepreneur, especially early stage, because the sooner you can clean things up, the better, and set
Right.
yourself up for scaling. So I'm going to recommend Stacy. I trust her. I've met with her. She's definitely knows her stuff. And she also is heart centered. And that is so important here. So I'm going to ask you, Stacy, if somebody's interested in having a meeting with you, do you offer like a free consultation? And if so, where can they go to kind of connect with you?
I do. And the best place to connect with me is to go get my app on the App Store. For one, you don't have to learn how to spell Braiuca in order to find it. If you just put in technology therapist in the App Store, you will find me. Or there is a um, URL on the screen, stacybraiuca.com/app. Download my app and you can message me straight through there. There's a messenger link. It'll connect up with your Facebook Messenger and message me. But also in the right hand corner after you get into the app, there's a scheduling page. So you can go to whatever my current scheduling options are. And I actually even have a coffee every Wednesday morning that's literally a social coffee. Come by and just hang out with us. It's a group of entrepreneurs supporting each other. Um, so there's a link to the coffee in that scheduling one as
Well,
well.
that sounds fabulous, all of it. I look forward to having coffee with you soon.
Yes.
Can you go ahead and wrap up this interview with like a thought or a quote or a phrase that you
Mm.
believe would really serve entrepreneurs that have tuned in, something that they can walk away with remembering and resonating with?
So when you hear this one, what I want you to do is take it in and I want you to repeat it to yourself several times of the day. Because and this quote or this, it's not really a quote unless it's my quote, I guess. It's a phrase that I pass to people, and you'll be surprised. It's not going to sound like tech, but it has everything to do with tech. It has everything to do with work-life balance, and it's have grace with yourself, especially with what we have gone through in the last 2 years since we first met in person and last hugged each other, Michelle. um, we have all been through lots of things that we never probably dreamt that we would ever deal with. And whether it's that or whether it's that as big things or whether it's one little bitty thing like your schedule or whatever day you're having or whatever moment you're having, if you're frustrated for one moment, have grace with yourself.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And I will take that and I'll heed that and I will apply that into my everyday life because, yes, sometimes we don't care enough about how we're making ourselves feel with our certain levels of expectations and etc. So thank you for that. I want to thank you for tuning in and watching this episode of Tech with Heart. And I also want to invite you to join our heart-centered, forward-thinking, innovative community of entrepreneurs and business experts, because we continually love to highlight certain experts to bring insights and share their knowledge base with you so that you can start applying certain those technologies, systems, and strategies so that you can grow your business to be competitive and relevant online as well as offline. And we do meet together once a month in live networks, masterminds, and like power networking. So we would love to have you check us out. Go to techwithheartnetwork.com and join our community. You can join for free or you can upgrade to be a little bit more promoted within our community as an expert or an influencer. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to hearing from you. Here's to your success.